Hey, welcome to Cabinet Maker Profit System, the podcast, the YouTube channel, the everything. My name's Dominic Rubino. I'm glad to have you here. Today, we're going to be interviewing Sam Natello. And it's really interesting because he's going to tell you that Google hates you. Your website sucks and Google hates you. How's that for an opener? But Sam is a guy I met at a different industry conference. And when I saw him on stage, I realized I needed to have him here talking to us as the audience because he's got the real inside scoop. Now, he builds websites specifically for another trades industry. And the reason I want you to hear that is because I want you to understand we are in the business of the contracting business. And so when I bring in other people, other voices from other industries, I want you to understand that we're not so different than doctors or lawyers or home builders or road builders. We're just the same. We're running a business. We're trying to make the best with what we got. And we're trying to maximize all of our opportunities. Sam's going to walk us through that. He's going to tell us today why Google is ignoring you, the secrets to contractor websites, and he and his team have built hundreds of them. Sam's actually got a team of about 40 people working for him full time. So he's a serious player in the websites for contractor space. And we're also going to talk about the impact of AI and many, many other things. I'm really glad to have you here. I want you to have this inside information before other people get their hands on it. And we'll see you on the inside of the interview. Catch you there. Sam Natello, how are you?
I am doing wonderfully, sir.
You are. I like how we're both matched in color here.
Yes, we are.
Did your mommy call you and say Dominic's going to be wearing black and blue?
And I do have a blue flat cap I could have worn. I didn't realize.
Yeah, you know what would have really blown people away? Because you and I met in Branson,
right,
Missouri. If we'd shown up wearing the same colors there that day,
that would be cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, we have the same build, but you cast a wider shadow.
If you say so.
Hey, listen, Sam, I know who you are. And the reason you're here is because I heard you speaking and I thought, okay, this guy's got to we got to get this guy talking to my audience. But people here don't know who you are. So let me ask you this question. Sam Natello, who the heck are you? And how is it that you come to be speaking to all these forward-facing woodworkers all over the world?
Well, who am I? I am a website design, digital marketing agency I own. There's about 40 of us over here, and we are, drum roll please, the largest of that type in the fence contractor space. That's where we specialize, and that's what we do. And I'm just blessed and that we're the top dogs in that industry, and I love contractors. And so how am I here to talk to these guys? Your awesome invitation. I love to talk to contractors of any type. I love these guys.
Yeah. It's interesting. You're a fence contractor specialist. Yeah. I'm a cabinetry and millwork specialist. And all of our friends think, what? You specialize in who?
I answer that question at least once a week.
Right? All the time.
Yeah.
I remember my mom looked at me and she's like, oh, oh, okay.
My dad still questions me frequently. I don't know if he thinks I'm, running something, a black market. I don't know, but it's all legit.
I think what interests me most is that you're coming from a completely different industry. It's still wood. Mm-hmm. So that's nice, but it's a completely different industry, but you and I connect at a business of business level. So people out there listening going, but I build cabinets or I do millwork or we do finely crafted wine rooms are thinking, why would I listen to this guy? And the reason I have you here is because you're not from our industry. And I want you to lob these bombs in of truth. Because today we're talking about, I love your title suggestion. Do you want to say it?
Oh, your website sucks and Google hates you. Yeah. Yeah, that's our catchphrase. We built our whole brand around that, but it's really built around the truth of that. So many contractors, I find. Can I launch into? I just go?
Yeah, launch into it. Yep.
All right. Well, my experience is that many contractors fall into at least two buckets. One of those buckets is I am a craftsman. I am a master craftsman of whatever it is, cabinetry, fence, whatever. And every industry has those craftsmen. And those poor fellows have a very difficult time scaling a business, marketing, because they have so much focus on the craft. And it's a shame, but that's not necessarily the path to success, right? And then you have other folks who are much, much more business minded and they understand systems and processes and scaling and sales and marketing and things like that. And they may not be particularly good at the craft, but they often are much more successful financially if you're going to measure
Mhm.
success financially. And so there's a huge difference between those two. And I don't care if it's cabinetry, fence, roofing, gutters, it's all of that's the same. So the lessons learned over decades of doing this are very, very similar for your
Yeah.
audience. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that because the observation that there's the technicians who are they're truly craftsmen. They're going to get to a certain level and be happy and very fulfilled with their work, which is great. And some of them want to stay there, which is great. But
Mhm.
some of them also want to work less and make more, which is a different mindset,
Yeah.
right? And
And
so
neither
how
one's correct. I mean, it's
no,
what you
it's just your
want.
choice.
That's your business. That's your baby. You're gonna grow that thing the way you want to grow it. But at some point, as you and I are both getting older, I believe we would agree that at some point it would be nice to not have to work. It would be nice
Yeah.
to be able to scale a business that could stand on its own when it needs to, because we get older.
Yeah. And increasingly, I'm hearing about legacy. People saying, I want my kids to take over, or I'd like to be able to sell something that isn't just a bundle of tools sold at an auction.
Yeah.
I want to have something that's actually meaningful to sell in some way, shape, or form. So your website sucks and Google hates you takes us into this whole web side of the business. And one of my challenges is that I still believe that going to get business has a lot to do with getting face to face with people. So
Mhm.
I come at this whole conversation with the challenge that people try to hide behind their keyboard. They hide behind we've got a great website or we have a bad website.
Right.
This is going to sound rude and impolite, but I kind of don't care. You
Yeah.
you need to be good when that lead comes in to talk to the person. Now, you're here to talk to us about how to make that website good enough to get somebody to call.
Right. Correct. And so there, let's just call one specific issue out, is that the facts on the ground in Canada are a little bit different than they are in the US, and I'm US based. US, you can approach things more from a pure numbers standpoint. Look, I might be a terrible salesman, a terrible
Mm.
salesman. I may be slow getting back to my leads, all the things that you would think would really kill a business. But man, if your website ranks well enough and it's good enough, you can just drive such numbers in there that
Yeah,
it just doesn't matter.
it's the same. By the way, it's the same for people listening in the United States or in Canada. Yesterday, I was on a call yesterday with a company in Geneva, Switzerland.
Okay.
Same. It's the same. You have to have the volume of the right people coming in.
Mm.
So let's go to this website sucks because we have to have the right customers calling us. If we say my website doesn't work or it sucks, take us soup to nuts. Let's pretend you were back on stage at the fence conference. Let's guide us through this with some priorities for people.
Got it. So I like to categorize these in two different again, two different buckets: a subjective and objective uh, approach. So let's look
Mm.
at the objective stuff first. These are the things that are undeniably true. When if I come and I say, now sucks may not apply, just it's not very good or whatever. But what makes a website suck objectively?
Yeah.
There are things that Google tells you that they want. They want the site to load in a certain amount of time, under 2 seconds, and they want it relatively code error free, and they want it to be
Mm.
responsive so it looks good on a website. And there's a list of things that Google is crystal clear about. So if you are failing to meet those criteria, I that is the trigger for me to say your website
Your
sucks.
website
Right.
sucks, right?
And and we, by the way, on those items where Google's very clear about those things, if you fail to meet those, we call that Google suicide. It's just, again, just a little name for it. You're committing Google suicide. They tell you what to
Right.
do and you're not doing it. Probably not the right thing to do. So, there's a good solid list of that sort of thing, which, by the way, we give freely. So anybody that wants that, just let me know at the end. We'll talk about how to get all that. But
Nice.
like that's a great resource for people. So you don't have to guess what it is. It's there. So yeah, so that's the objective side of things. There is a clear list of things you should be doing,
Mm,
and you either are or are not doing them. Now, subjectively, I believe there's also a pretty clear list, but it's not Google necessarily telling you. This is
mm,
now where the marketing world comes in and says that, you should have a clear call to action to cause people to reach out to you.
yeah.
Your contact information should be readily and easily available. There are a bunch of trust factors. This is a big one. Trust is one of the biggest problems going on right
Oh
now,
my gosh.
right? I mean, how it used to be consumer surveys back in the 60s and 70s, it was always a price barrier.
Mm,
Price was always the driving factor. People just didn't have the amount of disposable income that they had, say, in the 80s and 90s. So in the 80s and 90s, it became time. Time was the
mm,
biggest factor. We were always so busy. If you could just solve my problem of time, that was a path to victory. And that's how you would win in the 80s and 90s. But come the turn of the century, it has turned into trust. We've
yeah.
lost our trust. We don't trust that. And
I don't answer the phone anymore. Do you?
no,
If
if
I
I don't,
don't recognize the number,
you're so right. If I don't
yeah.
recognize the number, I will not answer the phone. You're
Yeah.
you're you're
Let
totally
it go
right.
to voicemail or I Google the phone number before I call it back. And
I know.
hey, are you the learning chair or the president of a local or regional trade association? Well, if you are, I'm going to be offering 10 free trainings this year to trade associations. That's my way of giving back. So if you want to train your membership and talk to them more about profitability in the shop, how to run their people better, how to hire the right people, how to build systems that they can scale so they can grow this business and not have to be working in it in every day, or how to be profitable, give me a call and let's figure out a training that's going to work right for your group. Just send me a text message. Actually, my cell phone number is 315 903 7853. And just say, Dom, let's talk about training. Yeah.
And we can pretend to be anybody that we want to be. And now, oh my gosh, how much worse is it these days with AI and the deep fakes? And I don't know if you've
Uh,
seen any of that stuff where you can create a video and voiceovers or just the voice. I could it would take me about 3 minutes to make a phone call come in that said it came from the White House and it would sound like Donald Trump, and there would be no way that you could know that it wasn't.
oh gosh.
It's terrifying. So anyway,
But
on
that trust rolls over into the websites. I mean,
of course.
here's an example: stock photos versus real before and afters. I
Yeah,
know we're off on a bit of a tangent, but when we
let's
talk
do it.
about trust, I'll make my claim, and then I know you're a pretty open guy because the topic is your website sucks and Google hates you. So I know you're not shy. I
Right.
would rather have slightly crappy before and after photos than stock pictures of a nice kitchen. What's your thought on for trust?
It would be wonderful if you could have both. Not stock, not stock.
Right.
I don't want any stock. So I misspoke. It would be wonderful to have those before and afters that are a little bit crappier, 100%. But it would
Right.
also be great
Nice
if
if they were
we could
better.
get a little bit higher level of professionalism and quality in the photos in the first
Yeah.
place.
You know what we found, because we did some testing, a lot of testing. One of our clients is very techie and likes to get into the numbers. And so they started to look at how much people were clicking on their different photos on their website. The photos on their site of a completed kitchen that get the most clicks have a dog in it, a dog or a cat, I should say.
Mhm.
So if they had a picture just with somebody's gold lab there laying on the floor in front of the cabinets, people would click that picture. The same
Yeah,
picture of just the cabinets, just like, whatever. But when you see somebody's dog, that I
right.
don't know why they just click that picture more.
That does not surprise me. I would like to see the stats, and I don't know this information. I'm not suggesting that it would be the same or it would be different. I'm saying I don't know the stats in terms of if it was a person versus a dog versus a beautiful arrangement of flowers.
Right.
I suspect that the dog does make a difference, but I also suspect that sometimes the difference in click rate is simply because that we want to see cabinets in a greater context. And sometimes a person, a dog, a flower, something like that would provide just a little bit greater context. But
Right.
that's just, I'm not a
I
photo
think,
expert.
yeah. And my point in bringing that up is that you can have a local photographer who's so good, they take a picture that looks like a stock photo,
Yeah.
but it would be hard for a stock photo to fake a real dog.
True story.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I mean, you could take a picture with a dog and say it's anybody's, but there's just that going back to your trust element. How am I proving that I'm trustworthy and I'm local and this is real and this is really me and not some AI generated kitchen cabinet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is something that we have to worry about more and more these days. And so
Yeah.
the photos are absolutely a way to establish trust. In your case, what we're talking about right this moment is the trust in the quality of my work. That's a big deal. I submit that more people photos is a major way to build
Mm,
trust. That that hey, this is my face. I've even seen plenty of data that suggests that you could have a pretty rough looking dude with tattoos up his neck, but a simple smile makes it more approachable regardless
right.
of all the other stuff, right? So people want to see people. We trust people. I don't trust the cabinet per se, but I do trust people. So I would say get more photos of yourself and your people,
Yeah.
your truck, professional equipment. If you happen to have a storefront, that's a trust issue, right? Are you
Mm-hmm.
working out of your home? Not that there's anything working out of your home, but if you happen to be in a place where you have a storefront, there's more legitimacy. You got to show
Mm-hmm.
that. And then of course you get into things like certifications and awards and community involvement. I'm a member of the local Better Business Bureau or Chamber of Commerce or things like that. All of those associations in the cabinetry
Yeah.
industries and all of those are trust issues. And a website should include as many of those trust issues, obviously testimonials and reviews and things. All of these are critical to trust.
Yeah. We call them trust breadcrumbs
Yeah.
because people and the clients out there are no different than you and me. If you're going to go buy a new canoe, you go look at reviews and use the websites and where's this going to be. And even if you buy it used on Facebook, you still go look at that seller. Is that a trustworthy seller? Are they, so you're looking for those trust breadcrumbs. It's no different than when somebody's contacting you about their kitchen cabinets or they're a builder looking for a new supplier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No different whatsoever. It's exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got the images and the trust on the website. What else do we need to keep in mind that is holding Google back from liking us and trusting us?
So the more subjective items again that aren't like laid out as a total formula by Google, because Google doesn't say you have to have a certain number of photos, but we know, or a certain quality of photos. It really doesn't say that, but Google values the photos. They want that. They want a mixture of media. That's
Mhm.
a problem that a lot of contractors have, which is silly to me because it's so easy for us to take photos or to take video. We all have a full video studio in our pocket. It's a cell phone, right? So it's very odd to me that contractors of all types, fence contractors are no different, no better, that we don't have more video on our websites because Google calls this rich media. They want more rich media.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
I think I have the answer
sure.
because I've got them here on my phone too. I don't have the time. I don't have the time. I might take the video, but I don't then have the time. I get back to my office, it's sitting there. Maybe I don't know. I have an iPhone. How do you airdrop it to my computer? But once I do that, I don't have Becky or Bob to send it to,
Mm,
right? It just sits
yeah.
there. So then it becomes useless, then it becomes dated, and then I stop doing it. That would be my answer. And I wonder how many people out there or maybe leave a comment here on YouTube about that. Yeah, that's me. Because I think that's what happens. You do it, but then now what do I do with it?
Well, and that gets into the other aspect of the business side of running your business, and that is you have to have the right team. You
Mm,
can't do this on your own. You might be able to install cabinets on your own. I know you can. You can build them. You can install them. You can build and install fence on your own. You can do that part of the business, but in order to be successful in business, truly successful in business at a high level, you can't be a one-man show,
No, you got to
right? You need
delegate.
a team. And one of the team members that you need is somebody who is going to be helping you online. Now, again, you may be an expert at that, right? But the more you're doing that, the less you're installing cabinets and building cabinets. So you can't have both ways. So that is a hole that we fill. That's our role, right? Is
Right.
you be awesome, and then your digital team, whoever they are, they have to be awesome. And so whether that means they go in, I know a lot of our clients, for example, they have these time constraints, they all do,
Yeah.
but there's just a Dropbox, so they don't have to send it to us. They actually have it set up. We help them set it up. And by the way, guys, you should do this. Like, you could do this. You can have it set up where when you take a photo, that it can automatically do something. It can automatically go up to your cloud account. It can automatically be pulled in by a Dropbox. Like, if you're not techie enough to do it, you could get tech help to do that. But so when it gets somewhere else, now if you have a really good partner, that partner doesn't wait for you. That partner goes in and says, "Oh, there's a new video here. Psh, let me grab that and put it in." Right. So
Mm,
now it's no time on you. So there's little efficiencies that can be implemented that actually can make a really big difference.
yeah. Are you not to act fancy, but are you talking about like using Zapier as a tool?
Zapier is absolutely one of our
Yeah, or
favorites.
IFTT. Yeah. So it just does when I do this action on my phone, automatically fill that folder, and then you
Mhm.
guys or somebody like you would go look at that folder and say, "Oh,
Right. And
there's
get
new information."
notified, right? Actively
Yeah,
notified. Like, hey, there's a new video, there's a new photo. Yeah.
yeah. See, that's and technology is going to be more and more a part of this. And again, cabinet makers want to be cabinet makers, mill workers want to be mill workers, and they would rather go look at a new set of plans and bid a job or go do measurements than work on their website. Except
Yeah.
that the website is keeping the tip of your spear sharp. At some point, you're going to be hungry. You're going to need more food. I always come back to the hunting references, Sam.
Yeah.
I know you notice that.
Well, marketing, marketing has been referred to many times by professionals more as farming, as where sales is more hunting.
Sure.
And the relationship between those two things I find fascinating. But then again, I'm a marketing guy, so
Yeah.
it's yeah.
But you're right. Let's say that it is marketing. So we still have to till the fields and prepare it, and we have to sow the seeds, which maybe is our trust breadcrumbs. And then there's a time to harvest. And but we're not if we don't do all of that pre-work, we're never going to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your website sucks and Google hates you. It takes me to Google reviews.
Mhm.
So let me tell you something that I hear from people. My competitors have already been doing this for years. They've got 50 or 500 Google reviews. I'm never going to beat that guy. Oh,
Mm.
Sam's face just lit up. I don't know if people can see this.
I feel like I see I could have fed you that question because I love that question, that concern. That was a concern.
Sure.
I hear that concern. I know that that feels like a real concern until you're educated about it, and then all of a sudden, I'm about to really make a lot of people's day here. So
Let's do it.
the overall quantity of Google reviews is a factor. It's not the factor, it's a factor. Another factor is frequency and regularity and how recent and recency. I'm sorry, I lost the word for a second. So these folks that have 500 Google reviews, if they have taken their foot off the gas at all, and that here's the thing, they often do,
Right.
right? Is once they get that many, it's just not that pressing need anymore, and now there's a bigger fire somewhere else, and they kind of start to pay attention. I see it all the time. I mean, it's the norm, right?
I'd
So
do it. If I had 500 reviews, I'd be like, "Oh, we're fine there. We can take that amount of time and allocate it to something else now because we're good." But I
yeah,
guess your point is it's got to be relevant. It's got to be fresh.
and so now all of a sudden their frequency has dropped, and the recency has dropped. They maybe the last time they've gotten reviews is several weeks at this point, couple months at this point, because they're really just not paying attention to it. So this is why the Google rankings are not a one-to-one correspondence. When you're like, all right, well, this guy has 500 reviews, that's why he's number one, and this guy has 450 reviews, that's why.
Oh,
That's not how that works. There are plenty of times, I know you've seen it, I know we've all seen it, where there's somebody who only has 80 Google reviews or 50 Google reviews, and then the second place finisher has 400 Google reviews, and you're like, how does that work? Well, now you, again,
oh, I
I'm not
didn't know.
giving the whole
I didn't
story.
pay attention to that though. You're right.
Yeah.
I would look at that and Number one on the listing is really the first one you call.
Right. Over 50% of the clicks go to the number one ranked one
Is that right?
position right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so here's can I geek out a little bit? I love this. Man, I'm such a
This is the show where we geek out on whatever our favorite subject is. Yeah.
I'm such a marketing geek. I can't even stand myself sometimes. Is that so? What the breakdown basically, again, we're doing a little simplified, right? Like, but so the breakdown is basically the number one ranked listing on those map listings
Yeah.
gets roughly 50% of the clicks. And then the second one gets roughly about 35% of the clicks. And then the third one gets roughly 20-ish% of the clicks. And then it goes down, down, down. But the total number actually adds up to over 100%. And I actually was a math major in college, so I know that you shouldn't be able to get past 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. A
Why
lot of
does
us
that
know that.
happen?
A lot of us know
Why do
that,
you think
Sam.
it can
Yeah.
be more
Yeah.
than 100%? Any guess why it can be more than 100%?
Because
It's
people are clicking twice.
exactly.
Oh, okay, good. I had to guess there. I didn't want to
Yeah,
sound
no,
dumb,
no,
but
but that's so, but if you, but so here's what happens when you look at it that way and you actually think about what that means. So the first place gets 50% of the clicks of all total clicks, and
mm-hmm.
then it's 30 something percent and 20 something percent. Well, those 50%, so many of them also clicked this and also clicked this and also clicked this
I see.
potentially. So that what that really means is that number one rank 80 to 85% of all searchers clicked number one.
I see.
All right. I'm sorry. I don't mean to geek out on the numbers. The point
No, but
is
you're geeky. I see what you mean. It's the
number
most
one's big.
relevant. Yeah. So,
Number
and if
one's
you're
big.
not in first, second, or third place, I think you're irrelevant.
Yeah. I mean, the numbers fall off, you
I
know.
feel guilty listening to you right now. I just want to go search my own. The
Yeah.
most the most narcissistic thing you could do.
Well,
Google your
that's
own
what we
website.
do. Come
Yeah.
on. I mean, you know,
Been a while since I've done it.
this is great general information, but everybody's sitting there thinking, how does this apply to me? And that's
So
normal.
one of the challenges that we have, and you and I spoke about this in Missouri at that event, it's a tough industry to find a good provider. You know, the shame, Sam, is that you're in fencing. You're not a cabinet guy.
Mhm.
Give me some tips on finding a good provider of who's the person or that team that I call. What do I look for? That's the hot points to tell me that these they can produce for me.
Man, this is I've thought about this long and hard. You know, I've been asked this question a number of times for a variety of different reasons. And you know, one of the difficulties is there are certifications, there's tons of certifications for web design, but you do not need licensing certifications, anything to
Mm,
call yourself a web designer. You don't need any of this to be a marketing agency. There is no barrier to entry. Anyone from somebody who's absolutely wonderful to somebody who's absolutely horrible and everywhere in between can call themselves the same thing, and there's no objective way
wow.
to tell, and that makes it difficult. I would here's the list of criteria that I would consider, I would suggest you guys consider. Is number one, you never want to go with a one-man shop ever, because they while he or she may be able to give you a lot of attention today, as soon as they get a few too many clients, they just can't give you the time and attention. And if
Right.
they're any good, let's face facts, if they're any good, they are eventually going to get more and more clients, right?
Yeah.
So if you have somebody that's been doing this for years and be like, oh, I know this guy that's been doing this for years and he's a one-man show, that pretty much tells you he's not very good. Right. Come on,
Okay.
let's be real.
You know what? Hey, listen, it's the same about cabinets. It's different being a cabinet maker than being an owner who owns a cabinet shop,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Are you the learning chair or president of a local or regional trade association? If you want to talk to me about providing free training for your membership, shoot me a text at 315 903 7853 and just say, let's talk about training. That's what we'll do.
And so then on the other side of things, like, well, maybe I catch a one man or a very, very small agency a little bit earlier in their journey. Right. Well, that all what that means is they're inexperienced, and so they're learning on your dime, and that's not the best situation because there's some real pros out there that will just spin them around.
Mm,
So that's not a good thing. So I would look for what I call, a mid-size agency where they've got at least 8 people, and that's even probably a little bit too small. Eight, and and up. Now,
mm,
once you get past about 50 or 60, you have, and that's a good, valid question. How big is your agency? Once you get past 50 or 60, now you potentially, I'm not saying 100% of the time, but now you potentially get into a different situation where the real talent are the people that founded this company. They were the good ones, and now they're hiring. But the
right.
bigger the agency, the further the talent gets away from you, the end customer.
Yes.
It's a true, it's
It's
just what
true. It's a great,
happens.
it's a great split. So if I understand you correctly, I should be looking for an agency that's got 8 to 10 or more people,
Yeah,
because that means they already have the business systems to support putting these things in place.
exactly. I think the sweet spot is kind of 12 to 20. You're
Mm,
good. You're good. Because once you get a little 8, they still might not have a client communications person. You got a web designer and you got this, you got that, you got
yeah.
all these people, you got an SEO guy, maybe if you're lucky, right? You have these things, but the budget did not allow for somebody to be dedicated to communicate with and support you. And so this is where you send in an email and you've been waiting for days and days to even hear back from them. And that,
That's true.
a lot of us have experienced that. And so that happens with smaller, very, very small agencies.
Yeah. So the other thing that got me in your presentation was you talked not only about SEO, and okay,
Mhm.
so we talk about SEO, search engine optimization,
Yeah.
and people are listening going, yeah, well, we do SEO. It's great. We're there.
Right.
Then there's some people listening who like, oh, we could do better on SEO. And then I got Sam coming on stage telling me, well, SEO is a thing, but SGE is another thing.
It is another thing. And if I
Sam,
throw
what's
enough letters
SGE?
around, if I,
What's
I
that?
keep, if I keep throwing enough letters around, I could just dazzle you until you
No, I
snap
mean, I
out
looked
of
into
here.
it after you did your presentation. I also took action after your presentation.
Okay.
I took immediate action. So maybe guide us through it in the same way that you did there.
Sure. So SGE is search generated experience, right? So this is different experience. The key word being experience. So SEO, search engine optimization, is the diff is it's a big difference. So what Google is looking for here is really to provide to the user an experience.
Mm,
And by the way you get that experience is as a business owner or a web designer. If you give Google experiences, and I'll explain that in a second, the
mm,
opportunity for experiences, then Google can provide experiences for their searchers.
okay.
Okay. If you feed experiences, Google will use those experiences to give them to their searchers. So, what does that mean? What is an experience? Any kind of interactivity is a big deal. So if you have, for example, maybe folks have seen like the slider bars where you can slide it back and forth before and after. That's a very simplistic experience, but it's still an
Mm-hmm.
experience. It's an
Right.
interaction. And Google likes those kinds of things, and graphics that you could click on and blow up and zoom in and read more. And
Yeah.
by the way, videos by nature are an experience. Again, it's a simple experience, but you have to click and watch that. And so there's an action and an experience that is a result of
Yeah.
that action.
I've seen this is the translation that I got on the plane ride back. I'm like, okay, if I want experiences, we need that picture where, let's say there's a picture of me and it's that formal picture, that slightly serious, very wise looking picture. But then you roll your mouse over it, it's me holding the dog,
Yeah.
right? It turns kind of blue or green, and then it's me
Love
holding the dog,
those.
and then it goes back. So that kind of gamification maybe is a way to translate it, where it's
Yeah.
exciting. You're like, hey, watch this, watch this guy do this. Oh, what does this guy look like? And then you go click in the About Me page, all 9 people. You're like,
Every
oh,
single one of them.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of our favorite ways to create that experience. I actually almost forgot to mention that. Thank you for talking about that. But that's such an easy way. Two photos, they flip, right? And you just get two
Yeah.
photos. You get a serious one and you get a fun one. And people they will flip every single if they were
They
good. Look, if you weren't creative, if the first one isn't very good, I may not
Yeah,
flip
it's
too
true.
many of them. So you still have to provide quality to encourage people like, wow, they're creative. It's fun. I wonder what's behind this one. I wonder what's
Right.
behind that
Oh,
one.
right. What's behind door number two? What's
Yeah.
behind door number three? Yeah.
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 That's the thing. So on the front end, anything that you can do on your website, and this is not for you, this is for your web designer. Listen, if you're a cabinet maker or cabinet installer,
Yeah.
you
No.
should not be doing any of this. Um, I'm about to sneeze. All right. So that's on the front end. Now on the tail end, Google is going to take all that and they're going to use that to evaluate the overall quality of your content. And again, some of the stuff we were talking about with reviews, the frequency that it gets updated and the
Yeah.
recency, how long, this could be amazing content, but I haven't touched it in the last year. That's a problem. So all of those principles apply. But now
Mm.
what Google wants to do with it, right? That's what we're giving Google. But what does Google want to do with it? Google now wants you to stay on Google more and more. I don't know if
Mm.
you have noticed. I think we talked about this that, when you used to use Google in the past, a few years ago, you would search and you would just get a list of links, just
Mm.
links, right? This is website. This is number one rank, number two rank, number three rank. That's what we get. Then they started adding these rich search results, which is the first one that everybody would remember is the map,
Right.
right? The map, you get the map and you get the three businesses
The
that are
three
listed
listings next
there.
to it.
So
Right.
that's a rich result.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they call that type of thing that's a rich result. Well, they have other kinds of rich results. They have the people always also ask results, right? And it's right
It's my
there. Like
favorite section
I
because then I
love
start
those.
getting caught into, oh, I want to bake a cake. Then underneath that, you want to bake a chocolate cake? Do you want to bake a flan? I'm like, oh, I don't even know what a flan is. You click it and then boom, boom, boom.
And next thing you know, it's 45 minutes later, and really all I wanted was,
Busted.
it's yeah. But I mean, it's awesome. Like, if it wasn't good, it wouldn't keep you. So those are also rich search results. There are, depending on the type of search you do, like if you do a lot of like how-to searches, then your rich results might be videos, right?
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
that they'll come up. If you
Interesting.
use words like creative, then you a lot of times will get like photo strips that are at the top of that search result deal. So these are all what Google refers to as rich results. So Google's so smart to pair the intention of what you searched with the type of result that they want to deliver to you.
The intention. So you're saying if they, let's say that I want to do a kitchen reno,
Uh-huh.
and then I go search for kitchen cabinets, Google knows already that I'm looking for renovations in general. So it's going to give me multiple. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Instead of
Yeah.
the first time I just search kitchen cabinets.
Right.
But if
No
it knows that I've been
context.
looking for renovations and kitchen cabinets and contractors, that okay.
Yeah, and that's called user search intent. So that a
Okay.
USI, that's your USI. We us computer guys,
Oh
we
my
we
gosh.
love to dazzle you.
This is why
Um,
you need a guy.
I
This is why you
know.
need an agency. Like you just, I guess back to your original point, you can't do this alone.
No.
Or you can, but you're not going to do a great job.
You can't. I mean, I've got 40 people over here at .com. That's all can you imagine 40 people? All we do is fence marketing. It's insane. But I've got 40 people and we have I have guys whose their only job is to keep up with what we need to know. They don't actually do anything other
Oh,
than,
you have an R&D department.
yeah, just keep it up. Just keep up with what's going on. And it's difficult. That's their full-time job and it's difficult. And they're experts to begin with. It's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff. So one thing that has slipped through the cracks here that I haven't figured out how to work in, and you just reminded me, is that Google is smart. There's a lot of AI going on these days, right? So now user search intent isn't only based on what you've been searching on Google. Now Google can reach into Facebook and they can see photos. And let's say oh yeah, you just got a dog.
Really?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So let's say you just got a dog. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to post photos of your dog on Facebook. Of course
Yeah.
you
Of
are,
course
right?
you are.
So a couple of days later, you go to Google and you do a search for fence. Guess what kind of
Oh,
fences
that's the
you're going to be.
context you're talking about.
That's the context, is that all of a sudden there's a disproportionate number of dog fences that have been presented to you than would have been
Mm.
otherwise. If you are on social media or otherwise interacting with pool companies in some significant way, and you do a search for a fence, you're going to be served up more pool fences. They're a different style, right? Again, I can't talk to cabinetry. I wish I could.
Well, but I think I can draw the parallel here for, let's say, wine rooms. So
Uh,
if I'm a wine person and I'm in a wine club and I do this and that, and that's on my Facebook page, I might even be the administrator of my local wine club. And
okay.
then I go and search for wine rooms.
Yep.
Google's going to know that I'm like I'm a big wine person. And so that they're going to cross reference that. The same as if I was a gamer and I was looking for a
Yep.
gaming table and I said custom gaming table, they might show custom furniture builders, right?
Yeah, that is absolutely
Oh,
correct.
crazy.
And that has been in place for a long time for ads. There may be some people that are listening to this right now and be like, I knew that. Like we all know that. But we knew that for
I didn't know
advertising.
that.
We know that if you do a search for certain keywords, that the ads follow you around. It's
Okay,
like this
that
is
much I knew. But this
right.
is another level.
But this isn't ads. This is organic user search experience that Google's trying to give you. And listen, guys, we are at the beginning of this. The AI is just now getting in, just starting to get involved in this. In a couple of years, your life experience and my life experience are going to be two totally different things based on what my behaviors are. When I go online, I will not see anything similar to what you see. And yet they'll both
Mm,
be our experiences.
online.
Yeah, online.
Sam, this is
Online.
so interesting. And you know what? I really appreciate you coming here because you're not a cabinet guy. You're talking about this from a global level. And I want everybody to take that away. This is just the facts. And I guess the other fact is your website sucks and Google hates you. I love that. It's a good time.
Yeah, yeah. It worked out for us. It's, when you get a good tagline and you're authentic and you're knowledgeable and you grind. We all know, how many of us know that business is a grind, right?
It is
So
you're an overnight success, Sam, aren't you?
after 30 years, I am an overnight success.
Overnight success.
Yeah.
Hey, if somebody here does want to reach out to you or find out more, and you had offered
Mm.
some sort of a document or free tool, how do we find you in this
Yeah,
big
I
world?
would love to do that, guys. Don't hesitate. I don't, it does not matter to me that, I want to help. It does not matter the industry. I love contractors. I love business. I love helping people. People help me along the way. I want to help others. So don't ever hesitate to reach out for some advice. .com global media, spelled out DOTCOM, globalmedia.com is my website. You can certainly find us on Facebook at .com global media and connect. And we have a what we call a digital health report right there on the
Oh,
website, actually.
okay.
And you could just fill in your information, website address, and things like that. And we send you a full digital health report that uncovers those Google suicide issues we were talking about before.
Mm.
It's a scaled back version. We have a very, very in-depth version that we do for our clients, but it's a good report. It'll be helpful to you.
I'm still impressed at the fact that your company is called .com. That tells me how long you've been around, and the
Yeah.
fact that you were smarter sooner than other people, because everybody's going to want that domain.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, and I have enjoyed this thoroughly. I think that the cabinet industry is really blessed to have someone like yourself here, and I just applaud your efforts.
Yeah. Thank you, Sam. I say the same thing.
Thank you.
I, I had to do that. I had to do that. Sam, thanks for being on. Hopefully, I can help you in some way in the future. We'll talk to you soon.
Excellent. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye bye.